Mama Minimal Drama podcast. This week's episode is actually a merger episode. So this is Single Mama Minimal Drama and Hidden Gems. So if you are one of my original listeners, original fans from Hidden Gems, then you know that was my podcast about entrepreneurship and the journey that you go on through that. And surprise, surprise, we're bringing it back. But this week I have OJ and Kat. And we are going to talk about a lot of things. But if you were a listener from Hidden Gems and you remember my very last episode, I was talking mostly about therapy and being in couples therapy. And if you are one of my new listeners and you listen to Single Mama Minimal Drama, you know that I am no longer in couples therapy. So like in my last episode, yay! In my last episode, I was talking about how hard it was being in couples therapy. And today I have OJ and Kat with me because they both have been in therapy. I'm not going to necessarily say couples therapy.
I've been in couples therapy.
I was married, so I've done marriage counseling.
Oh, okay.
If that counts.
And I've been in couples therapy and we were not married. Yeah, we'll get to that though.
So we can get into it. Yeah. So did y'all okay, so marriage counseling, I did marriage counseling too at the beginning. And it was hard.
It's very hard because at that time I didn't want to be married anymore and he wanted to save the marriage. So it was like a big conflict of interest. It was like, we can do it. And I was like, but I don't. You know?
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I haven't done couples therapy, so I don't know if it's the same.
I think it's the same. We did marriage counseling before we got married. And then towards the end of our marriage, we ended up having to do therapy.
We did marriage counseling at the end.
Oh, okay.
Because everyone was like, you can save it. You can do this again. And I was like,
the damage was done.
I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
Can I leave? Or we got to keep doing this? So for me, marriage counseling, I think if you want to save your marriage, cool.
Yeah. I definitely think it has to be like both people wanting to do the work. I think that was where I struggled with our therapy at the end because I was like, I'm trying everything that I can to do the work to save this marriage so that we can be together. But like, yeah, you're showing up to therapy, but when therapy is done, you're not doing any of the things we talked about. So like for me, that was just like, I'm wasting my money. Like, yeah.
We get in front of these people and we say all these things like, oh, we're going to do this, or we should be doing this, or I'm going to be better. But then as soon as the camera's cut off, not even the camera, as soon as we leave therapy,
right,
you go back to being that same old.
Yeah. I think like some people in those situations think that coming to the therapy session is the work, but that's like literally the bare minimum of the work. Like the bar is on the floor. Okay. Like you literally just like stepped in the door. Like you have to do the work afterwards. And I think that's so hard for a lot of people. I think that's what makes couples therapy, marriage counseling, whatever you want to call it. I think that's what makes it hard.
Yeah.
Even real therapy.
Yeah.
Even real therapy.
You
can always tell when somebody's been in therapy for real. Because like you went, but did you apply it?
Yeah.
Or they're like, oh, I've been through therapy. Like I'm ready for a relationship. And you're like, no, you're like horrible.
I can see you. I see you, right?
You're actually.
I see you, right?
You probably need to go back.
Yeah. I just got done dealing with somebody who needs to take it back. Needs to go back.
Listen, I still see my therapist.
For sure, needs to go back. But I feel you. I feel you. Because I was like, literally, I was like, as soon as my new insurance kicks in, I already found out I can do it through Talkspace with my new insurance. So I was like, yes, fine.
That's lit.
Yeah. Because my old therapist, I used to be on Zoom with her.
And we do FaceTime appointments basically at this point. Mm-hmm. Shout out to my therapist.
Yeah. I used to sit in the car.
I know I be stressing shout out.
Okay, you got a quick minute?
Yeah.
I'm about to stat.
Right. Listen,
so what happened what's been going on these last 2 weeks? Man, girl, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah. Do you think it has benefited you though, like positively? Like, so like as a man, like let's focus on you for a minute.
Okay.
Because like I've read some statistics lately that talk about how men like have a more like I guess a higher chance of committing suicide. Men also have like a harder time, I guess, opening up to people, and men also don't form those types of like relationships and community like women do. So how's that working out for you?
I gotta be honest. A lot of that is true for men. Like literally, a lot of that is true. I guess you could say, but it's also case by case who you talk to. Because I have been blessed with a community. I have got good friends, male friends that I can actually confide in. We talk about these things. However, it has not always been easy. It's taken us to actually, and this is what I think a lot of men struggle at, is we don't actually pour into our relationships for real. Like, we're very shallow if we're being honest. It's like, guys can get cool. Guys can get cool with through a video game or through work or something small that makes us like a common bond. We're like, oh yeah, that's the homie.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, so when's his birthday? Or how many kids does he have? What's his kids' ages?
Y'all don't know anything.
We don't really
about
start,
each other.
but it's usually through.
So
But it's usually through a common goal or something like sports or something that's what gets us there, and then eventually over time we start to develop a bond if that relationship still continues. But I will say, therapy for me has taught me to be more vulnerable. It's taught me to be a better friend. It's taught me empathy, patience, and grace. Like I could say, like, man, for the last 2 years, my word of the year has been grace, because I know I need it. Like,
Agreed.
I know I need it. Like, I know I haven't been perfect. I know I'm never going to be perfect. However, I do strive for excellence. So with that being said, every time I can make a mistake, it feels good to be able to give myself grace, and not only get grace from others, and grant that grace to people who don't understand that they're human.
Yeah.
So when it comes to dating, women try to act like they perfect. So when you meet a woman who actually, I'm saying, when a woman does or can't open up to you and show her vulnerability, and you can be, graceful and say, hey, you human, it's okay. I understand that.
Yeah,
like I get that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's okay.
Because like my thing is, like, you say women try to act like they're perfect, or is it that women have to feel like they have to live up to certain standards for men when it comes to dating? Because, like, let's be honest, there's a lot of competition out here as a woman. If you trying to like date somebody and you want to be with that person, you meet somebody, you really like them, and you're like, oh, I like them, I want to see where this goes. But you also know that that person has not committed to you yet, verbally.
Yeah.
But men also, I had a conversation with a guy about that. I said, why is it that guys, I have never had a guy ask me to be his girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Which is crazy.
That's
and
nuts.
so I asked, like, why don't men, like, ask somebody, like, hey, you want to be my girlfriend, or can we take this to the next level? And his response was, most times we are just vibing, because eventually we know it's going to get to a point where you're going to be like, well, why'd you even ask, or why'd you even want to be with me, or, something along those lines. And it's like a get out of jail free card, because it's like, to them mentally, they never committed anyway. I never asked you to be my girl. We just vibing, and we've been vibing. So, like, I'm like, so have you ever asked the girls to be your girlfriend? And he's like, no. And I was like, so he was like, it's easier to get out of it when I can just refer back to, like, I never asked you for commitment anyway. We was just kind of like vibing.
That's toxic.
But that is like,
I think that's
the dating pool. That just goes to show that a lot of people need therapy.
Definitely.
That aren't in therapy. Because to me, that was like, that's a red flag. Like, if you don't ask me, then I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it didn't bother him. And it's just casual conversation. It's not somebody I want to date. But it was just like, he was like, I mean, it is what it is. So I think a lot of the dating pool is that, and nobody is going to therapy to actively know how to, like, communicate, how to, like, navigate their emotions. It's just like, okay, well.
You said something then. I think what it comes down to is people's fear of commitment, especially when it comes to men. Because, like, I can only speak for me, when I decide I really like somebody, or I want to be with somebody, I'm all about you. And that can be a scary feeling, because now it's like, now I have to consider you in any and everything I think about or do. And for a lot of men who haven't been therapized, haven't gone to therapy, haven't even talking to somebody about that can be very difficult to navigate. Just like being vulnerable, because like you said, it said men commit suicide at higher rates now, especially black men. And it's usually because we don't have anybody we can really feel that we can open up to about life's struggles. And life is hard out here for everybody.
you're in a relationship.
It seems that way, but sometimes people get these partners who say, "Oh, baby, you can open up to me," and as cliche as it sounds, it gets thrown back in your face in the middle of a bad argument.
Oh,
for sure. The moment you seem like you're winning an argument, I don't believe in winning or losing an argument.
No,
I feel like everybody loses when you're fighting in a relationship.
Right. It's got to be win-win or no deal.
It's us versus the.
It's
the problem, not us versus each other. Exactly.
Right.
But the moment you feel like you're not getting your way in a dispute, and you turn around and throw something personal that I brought up to you in your face, that's probably the last time I open up to you again. And that has happened, and that's not a great feeling, man. Like when you actually you bring up something from your past that you're not proud of, something you're insecure about, something you're ashamed of, that you're trying to better yourself from, and the person you think that you could trust the most, the person you think you can be soft with, turns around you and weaponizes that against you, that could put you in a space where, all right, don't worry about it. That'd be the last time I open up to another woman. And I've been there.
She ruined it for us all.
But it can be that way. But it takes a strong person to say, you know what? I'm not going to allow what happened to me make me become that person. It takes a strong person to continue. And women are very, very good at that. I give you that. Y'all will continue to love after us. Man, we have been some ain't shit people before. And so...
I think...
Scorpio has entered the chat. Scorpio has entered the chat.
The lick back is coming.
The lick back is coming. The lick back is coming, man. I may not say nothing. I may let it ride out. But I'm going to get my lick back. I'm going to get my lick back, and then I'm going to be done.
And then...
Hey, man.
I saw this. I had this quote today, earlier this week, and they were talking about vulnerability. I don't know if are y'all familiar with Brene Brown? She's a doctor, like a PhD doctor, and she studies shame and all kinds of other things. But she has this quote from something she said, and she was talking about vulnerability, and I'm probably gonna botch the quote, but it was vulnerability is me trusting you with something that's important to me, or something like that. And then she has this acronym called Braving. I'll look it up in a minute.
Send it to me. I like that though.
And so being vulnerable is hard because it's literally I'm giving you something that I really care about and that I really love, which is myself. And I'm opening up to you in every single way. And it's hard for people to do that. I can give people pieces easy. Yeah. I can compartmentalize like a motherfucker.
Same.
And I can be like, okay, you can get that piece, you can get that piece, but to give,
keep this to myself.
Right. I'm gonna keep the best parts of me for me though. And then when you get in a relationship with somebody who has asked you to be in a relationship, and that's where
don't just jump in them.
Right. Period.
Don't assume.
Because I'm never gonna assume. I'm never gonna assume because even in the shit that I just got out of, I was always I mean, I don't really think I would say I was single, but I was not available up until the point where he did ask me to be his girlfriend. And then I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not available and I'm not single anymore. But
I'm not.
Rats.
But I'm not available, but I'm also not single.
But I think it's a lot of people out here moving like that. They ain't available, but they're single.
They're single. Yeah. That's the situation.
Or they're not single, but they available.
And that's honestly that's their own doing. You can't, because if you allow yourself to be confined to one person who hasn't committed to you or hasn't shown any version of being committed, that's on you. Am I
going
wrong?
back to what she's saying though, I don't think people are completely open up. Whereas a woman would be oh, telling you about my life history, a man doesn't open up like that on first date.
You're not lying.
So it takes time, and for me, I need to know what type of childhood you grew up in, what type of environment was that, what's your relationship with your mama. If your relationship with your mom isn't a good one, that's how you're gonna treat me. That's how you're gonna treat my kids. That's how you're gonna treat your daughter. Because you haven't been shown how to love a woman properly. I think I don't know, it may sound weird, but a daughter's first love is her father.
Right.
And then, a son's first love is his mom, And so if I'm mean to my son all the time, he's going to be attracted to unavailable, mean-ass women.
Right.
And then he's going to be why am I not getting what I need? And it's because he never opened up and communicated because his childhood XYZ. So I think for, me, dating-wise, no, I need to know what your
background.
Your background. So, and if you're not willing to share that with me, if you're not willing to sit across the table with me and look at me and be oh, my dad was abusive or my mother was unavailable, then that's just probably something I'm not going to partake in because I need to know where your mindset is when you get angry.
A lot of
that
adulthood
environment is gonna come stream from your anger.
I say a lot of adulthood dating issues usually stems from our childhood trauma though.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you really think about it, man.
Yeah, because we still see love the same way we saw love when we were children. Like, you still see it and receive it almost like the same. Like,
Therapy helps with that, though.
right. You have
Just
to go to
being
therapy to get
real.
to that
Yeah,
point.
you
Like,
have to understand that. Man.
you have to go to therapy to get to that point where you're like, oh my God, I am looking at all of the men that I date in the same way that I looked at the love that I received from my father. And it's just like, oh.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
It took therapy for me to realize I like unavailable men because my mother was unavailable.
I like emotionally
I
unavailable
like
women.
emotionally
I like a
unavailable men,
challenge.
and then I get mad.
Yeah, because you can't change
That's
them.
a
You can't win. You can't win. You be like, dang.
I don't want
I'ma
anybody
I'ma
emotionally
love her
unavailable.
through
I
this.
don't want it.
I'm gonna love it out. I'm gonna love it out you,
baby.
baby. I'm gonna love it. I know you hurt.
Yeah.
I know. I'm gonna
love
fix you. I'm gonna put you back together. And then when it don't work, you like, what? I'm gonna just go even harder. I got this.
Oh no, y'all
And then the
tweaking.
the only thing you get from trying to love somebody out of their pain is your own pain you about to receive. I promise you.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Let them go heal.
Don't do it.
Let them go. You can love them from a distance. You can love them from a distance, but let them go heal.
Let them go.
Because I promise you, that heartbreak you gonna get from trying to love somebody through their heartbreak ain't
because
worth
they
it.
haven't gotten the help, so they're not gonna receive it well.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, oh, you're attacking me. You're just you think you're better than me.
And it's like I just care.
Like, no, I'm in active therapy. Like, I can call my therapist right now.
Right, immediately.
Like, I'm trying to help,
Yeah.
but they don't want help. So I had to learn for myself. Like, if someone doesn't want help,
No, you
let it
gotta
go.
let them.
It's not your job.
Like, it's not my
help
job to
them.
fix you. Like, it seems like you have issues that I don't want to partake
Right.
in.
There's
So.
some things you need
The
to.
therapy did teach me that I had one of the biggest problems with is learning to let things go, let people go.
Oh, really?
You can like trying to love somebody through things, and me personally, I see myself as loyal to a fault. Even with jobs, which is ironically, y'all know, I just recently quit my job after being there 4 years, and before that, I had never ever quit a job. I was either let go because of layoffs or just whatever. The company shut down, which just happened to me twice. At my last 3 or 4 jobs, I should say. But sticking around until it was like, oh, we're getting rid of you. Even with relationships, it's like I'm sticking around until it's just too late. Where it's like I'm either really damaged from it, or unfortunately, I was dealt with DV. Like somebody was like, I dealt with an emotionally and physically abusive partner, and it was not something I want to deal with. And I didn't leave until it was literally too late. Like it was literally just like it was either like, I was scared I'm either gonna die or go to jail tonight.
Right.
Like that's when that's like in therapy taught me like, hey, you read the signs of people, you can understand that hey, you can love them to death, but that person needs to be on their own, and like you need to like really like, hey, no, it's cool. I'm gonna step away. Yeah. And also help me recognize my own flaws, my own emotional unavailability as well, though. So it's like I have to pay attention to those things. Like, okay, I am not opening up right now to somebody who genuinely likes me. Maybe I got some more healing to do. Maybe I got some more soul searching, some more work I need to do in this relationship, or to open up to this person. Why am I not opening up? Is it because of the last relationship I've been through? Let me talk to her about that. Maybe she can help me navigate through that. And doing that has actually made my relationships a lot better. Because you can recognize your own flaws and things as well. Because we ain't none of us perfect. We can talk about, oh yeah, I go to therapy, but like we said, are you really applying that shit?
Right. And sometimes,
am I really applying?
And sometimes it's hard to hear what your therapist has to say to you and be like, all right, let me figure out how I can work that out. Because sometimes I'm like, hey, I don't give a fuck what she just said. I'm gonna go back out here.
You have to talk to me like that.
Right.
Actually,
I just cried in the car with you for an hour, and this is what you gonna say to me?
And this is what you got to say to me. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely not.
But I learned that in therapy also. I've been in therapy since I was 14. So I think learning to let things go is a good thing, but I've also gotten to the point where it's a bad thing too, because just as quickly as I pick something up, if something doesn't like go my way or it's like a red flag, I'm like, yeah, done. Yeah. And I used to be really bad at ghosting. So really? I had to like go back to therapy because I learned to let go, but I never communicated. Yeah. So I was just I don't like this.
I'm guilty of that as well. I'm guilty of that as well. I'm sorry. If you see this and you ain't heard from me, I'm sorry.
I mean, real bad. Kind of like how Tree sent the long paragraph.
That was wild.
He sent the long paragraph. I appreciate it only because
I told you just let that man. I said don't even say nothing back. We done.
I did say something back.
You
did.
I
was trying to work on it.
Look at you.
You got to work on it. So I said thank you for communicating with me, but it was business. This is not
It was very professional.
It was professional.
Very HR professional.
It was. HR wouldn't have called her about that one. They wouldn't have called you.
No.
You did good.
I said thank you for your time, but like it's not gonna change in the future. So
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I've ever ghosted. I don't feel like I've ever ghosted. But I will say the last dude, he was like, his problem with me was like when we would get into it, I would be quiet.
You shut down.
Yeah. So the thing
that.
is, I don't care who you are. The minute you start yelling, I don't have anything to say to you. I'm never going to be able to communicate what I have to say to you with you yelling. You are here. I'm up there too, but I'm quiet. I don't have anything to say to you. Don't talk to me. I can roll bounce up out of here, like, if it's too much. But, like, that used to get under his skin so bad because
he was looking for
reaction.
Right. He
was
used to having an explosive partner because the person he was with before me was explosive with him. I'm not gonna do that.
Sorry.
I'm tired already. You're yelling at me. I want to go to sleep. I really would. I can get a blanket. I go to sleep. Now you can go yell by yourself, but I don't have anything to say. So like. Who was it? Somebody told me it has to do with something like you grew up in a yelling household. Was it you?
I was actually about to ask you that.
Yeah.
I was about to ask you that
environment he grew up in a household that was normal.
I grew up in an environment where I got yelled at, and so when you raise your voice, I shut down. It's triggering, so I shut down. I'm like, you know what? If we can't speak like adults, we don't have to have this conversation.
Right.
So it's the same. I was getting ready to ask you that, like. Where you yelled as a kid, or was the household loud? You yelled a lot of yelling.
We was yelled at.
Hey man, like we said, it goes back to your childhood,
right? But also it does because when I was like preteen-ish, I used to like be on the phone with my dad, and my dad would start going off, yelling at me, all of this stuff, and I would just be sitting there silently, like crying on the phone, like.
The words could break you down way worse than the bill could ever do.
And so this was back in the day, like when you had house phones. So my mama would pick up the phone because she would hear me crying. Then her and him, they get to yelling. Y'all yelling at each other on the phone. Like it used to be rough. Like when I think about those phone conversations. So it does make sense why I shut down. But I also feel like it's still justified in my head because it's just like, what am I going to say to you in the moment when you're yelling?
I think it's going to forever be a trigger. My dad never yelled at me, so I always communicate with men that I like, hey, if you ever raise your voice at me, done, finito. I don't care if I'm in love with you. I don't care what we got going on. Like, that is an absolute deal breaker at me because I feel like yelling leads to hitting, leads to, like, abuse because it's like a gradual, like, oh, okay, well, she'll let me yell at her.
Right.
Then you'll let me shove you.
Right.
And then if you'll let me shove you, you'll let me hit you.
Right.
Amen.
And it just peaks from there. So I like shut it down immediately. If you start yelling at me, I'm gonna grab my purse.
You should.
Trigger warning, man. So that's how it started with my abusive relationship I was in. It was like, she was like, you so calm and all this stuff. I like that. And it's like, because I don't, then it became, I was nonchalant. It's like, it's not that I'm nonchalant. I care, but I'm not going to do the voice yelling, the raising, and all that stuff. Because that's when it started building up to things being thrown. Now you're putting your hands on me it got worse. It escalates. And I don't think you can ever get over your triggers. And this is something the therapist has also taught me. Because you think we're doing the work on our own, we're single. You have to do you don't really practice until you get in the game, aka get in a real relationship. But you got to get in a relationship to really try. And something I was guilty of for a while was like I get out of a relationship. And I go do some work on my own. I think I'm healed. Right. And then I would get back into the dating field. I jump in. I start talking to women, and we're falling fast and all this stuff. And as soon as things start happening, I love me some fire signs, boy. Leo, Sagittarius.
Please don't get at him.
Aries. Holla at your boy. No,
do not abort. And I'm going to let y'all know right now, I will be telling him no. As soon as I find out your birthday, I will be telling him no. Period.
But so I would get into these situations, and the second I would get triggered, I'm like, you know what? Honestly, maybe I'm not as healed as I thought, and I cut it off. And then I'm realizing, no, you didn't have to cut it off. This was your opportunity to practice everything you've been put into play, and implement everything you've been practicing on your own.
You got to.
And that's something I can say now. But in the time, I was like, man, it's time to go. I'm not healed yet. I'm not healed as I thought I was.
Actually, I can't do this.
And that's exactly it. And I'm not realizing I'm pulling the rug off from the woman's foot.
From the other person,
Yeah, and it's like, that's kind of messed up. So it's like, you're never going to get over your triggers, but you have to learn how to deal with them and navigate through them.
How to work through them. You have to feel through your triggers.
Yeah.
I learned that as a parent. Like, being a mom,
Yeah. Same.
Being a mom is, like, everything I learned in therapy, I think I apply it in motherhood the absolute most, because you have to learn how to filter through your emotions.
Yes.
And being a single mother, it's like I have a son who is 6 foot and I'm 5'3", and when he get mad, he wants to yell and scream and throw things, and it's like, okay, well, do you want to have a talk? When really I want to, like, get right with him.
Yeah.
Right.
And
check
it's like,
in, let him know you're still mama.
But I can't do that, because also me starting therapy at 14 is simply because my mother was verbally and physically abusive. So, like, I know that childhood trauma can quickly surface no matter how much work you do, just because that's something that you were used to as a child. So with my own children, I have to say to myself, I'm going to go in my room and I'm going to sit down and I'll let him do everything that he in there doing. And then when I see that he's quiet and he's chilled, I'm like, hey, you want to have a conversation? And then now it's my opportunity to be like, if you do that shit again, I'm going to knock your head off your shoulder. Right. You understand what I'm talking? You understand what I'm saying to you?
You put the mama hat on.
Yeah,
you put the mama hat on.
But I'm also like, I'm your friend. You can talk to me about your emotions. Like, where is this streaming from? And I've struggled with Hunter the most, like, because I think he never dealt well with me and his dad getting a divorce, and he's just been holding on to, like, all this anger.
Because boys, we see that. We don't have anybody to talk to for real.
He don't have anybody to talk to. He has a little sister, and you know how sister and brother relationships are. So, like, I've had to, like, learn that, like, I have to talk to him a certain way. And it's like, hey, I get you're upset.
Yeah.
I get, like, that you're feeling things. When I was your age, I didn't know what to do with those feelings either.
That's real.
But what we're not going to do in my household is throw things.
Yeah.
The next time you throw something, I'm not going to guarantee it's going to go like this. So I'm giving you the opportunity to explain to me what's happening.
Talk to mama.
So talk to me and let me know. And then he's gotten more comfortable with being like, okay, well, like, all right, well, I had a bad day, and then Piper pissed me off. Well, let's not say pissed. let's not say pissed, but let's say, And so I could see, like, a change in him, like...
You're providing a safe space for him to come to.
Providing a safe space for him to, like... Piper talks to me about everything, so it's
that's how my sisters are, my mom, but for the longest, I didn't have it. Like, there was no safe space in my house, and I'm sorry, my parents see this, but it is what it is. Like, I didn't feel like I had a space where I can go and be, like, hey, so I had a rough day of football practice. The teacher was mad at me because I was late with my homework, because I forgot it at home, because I woke up late trying to take care of my sisters. Like, these kids are humans too. They have lives. They have emotions. They have emotions they need to talk about. And if you don't sit down and help them navigate them, it becomes a whirlwind of trouble that you're setting themselves up for the future when they become adults. And so, no, you're doing good with that. Giving him a space where he's like, hey man, I can go talk to my mama.
It wasn't always like that.
It takes work.
She did the work.
It takes work. It takes work.
It really does.
It takes work.
I think one time we, like, really got into it, and I felt so bad, and I was just like, okay, let me work on how I receive things that I don't like.
Yeah.
When something is said to me, I don't need to, like, react the same way that person is reacting. How can you do this better with your children?
Right.
So I'm like, hey, I'll, like, do little things. Like, I'll turn the Wi-Fi off. You know.
You petty. You a damn Scorpio for real. She petty as hell.
I'm like, okay, y'all loud. Y'all don't care what's... Boom. Okay, because I can stream from my phone.
I can imagine gaming and then all of a sudden the Wi-Fi just disconnect you was online.
Oh.
And now I got everybody's attention.
Yeah.
And so now everybody's coming out their room and they're like,
what's happening?
Mom, the Wi-Fi's down.
I'm like, that's crazy because when I came home, I told y'all to wash the dishes. Before I got here, ain't nothing been done.
Yeah.
So, like, when y'all get done doing that, I got you.
Yeah.
So we've, like, integrated. I had my children young. Started as a mom at, like, 19. So, like, we've been besties for a long time. And a lot of people will be like, your kids act like you're their sibling versus their mom. And as I got older and they got older, it just got worse because they never respected me as their mom because they always looked at me like
y'all grew up together.
We grew up together.
Y'all did
like
grow up together.
that's my big sister.
Yeah.
So it's like in my 30s I was like, call my therapist because this is feeling like jail time.
Yeah.
Oh God.
This is feeling like jail time. Help.
Yeah, help. Somebody immediately.
So she was just like, you have to apply what you're trying to apply in your relationships with men, apply it to your children. And with your son is going to be the first example because you're his first example.
Yeah.
If you react to him yelling, screaming, doing those things, those are the type of women he's going to like. And then those are the type of women that you're going to have to deal with as his mother.
Absolutely not.
And so I was like, yeah, let me change how I do this. So I think just implementing things that you've learned in therapy is really important. But like we all said, if you're not putting in the work, I don't think you should be dating. Yeah. I don't think you should be having kids. Like,
even if it's not therapy, do some kind of self-work.
I don't think they do the research on, like, self-work is like, if I'm having a bad day, I need to have somebody I can vent to. I don't need you to give me no advice. I just need to say some crazy stuff so I can just go back to being a normal person.
Period. Because would I be in the Delulu crew?
Hey, no.
Guess what I'm doing?
But I think by the way, we do have a group chat called the Delulu Crew, starring us three.
Starring us three.
Delusional as hell, man. It's
fun.
usually one grounded person per day, though.
One grounded
per day. One person's like
per
one
day.
person brings everybody else back to reality. But yeah,
I hate when it's my turn. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be delusional all the time.
Hey man, ain't nothing wrong. Delulu is a salulu.
Period. Especially like air sign, earth sign, water sign. Like,
it's already delusional.
It's delusional. And for me to have to be the one that got to be grounded when it's my turn, I'd be like, oh my God, OJ.
Because I be sending them up the roof.
Oh my God. But when it's my turn to be delusional, please believe I do my one. My 1, 2.
My big one.
It be big. It be big. But yeah, you're right. People don't put in the work, and I don't think they do the research. I do agree with you.
I think I think also men. I'm sorry.
No,
I think
listen.
men in this generation have gotten smart enough to know that women who are actively in therapy, who have solid boundaries, that is their way to get in. I've had men say, "Oh, I've done the work. Like I go to therapy," and then you start talking to them, and you're having these conversations about boundaries and like, "Oh, like I don't think X, Y, and Z," and then they're like, "No, like." Like, well, what's your therapist's name?
Right. What's your
therapist's
name?
What is your therapist's name?
And where did you find them?
Where did you find them? Because that's not making sense. And so it's like kind of like how they use a ploy with astrology. Like most girls are like into astrology. Yeah. So I think they kind of like, okay, I know the right things to say to get you like in.
You're not gonna play with me about astrology. I'm gonna get that birthday. I'm gonna get that city, and
immediately.
I'm gonna go ahead and get your chart done myself. That's my background check.
A Scorpio Venus.
They definitely gonna run your chart, but
I'm gonna go ahead and run it up. Go ahead and get your birth certificate.
Where's
you
your
don't know?
Certificate?
But I know a lot of I won't disagree with you to an extent there because I know whenever I am out dating and I tell a woman, oh yeah, I'm in therapy, like, oh, we love a man in therapy, and it's like, yeah, but we not gonna sit here and make self-love and this journey seem like it's so glorifying and beautiful. That's what
damn sure ain't.
People love to make it seem that way, but I always tell people straight up, this shit is hard. Because I have my great days, you have your highs, and you have the valley. You at the valley of despair. You like, man, listen, I got to call. I need an emergency.
Valley of despair.
I need an emergency.
Yes.
But see, something about therapy helps you realize that. Like, I can always tell when things are starting to not go the way I want it to go. And it's like, okay, I'm sleeping later. I'm not in my routine. Yeah. I'm feeling lethargic. Like I'm eating trash ass food.
I'm eating all the time.
Or I'm coping. My coping mechanisms are not normally what they should be. Healthy coping mechanisms. Okay, I'm in therapy. I'm doing my breath work. I'm going to the gym. I do my morning meditation. I talk to my family. Unhealthy. I'm gaming all night. I'm smoking hella weed. I'm drinking every day. I'm staying out late and then waking up. Like these are things. And when you actually like do the self work, it's like, okay, I'm spiraling. Let me call my therapist. Let me find out what is triggering me right now. What is it? Is it my anxiety? Is it somebody I'm dealing with that's rubbing me the wrong way that I'm not facing?
To live in their truth.
Exactly.
Our generation is afraid to live in their truth when somebody
social
is
media
being themselves and like just open with the things that they've been through. Like, this is my life. You can't tell me how to run my TV shows.
Period.
Like,
I wrote this.
You're not gonna tell me. Right. This episode written by me. You're not gonna tell me
on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Period. And we're gonna find out what's gonna happen. We're gonna find out.
We're gonna find. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I think you two are the first people that I've met since I moved here that are like openly living in their truth. Everybody else has like this facade that they have to keep up and they have to be perfect and everything has to be like laid out the right way, and you can't have bad days. And I'm like, no, I sit at my desk and they're like, Kat, what are you doing? Nothing, because I'm spiraling this week. I can't get a grasp on my life right now.
I had a woman. I lived my truth so much. I had a woman leave me because I said I ain't got it right now. Emotionally, spiritually, I am financially. I'm drained right now. Right. Shot it up and left, but it taught me something. I'm like, okay, I can see what happens. Like, even though it hurt and I had to heal from it. It's like, hey man, I feel a lot better because at least I got you out my way now. Yeah. Like, now I know what happens if I open up to you. I can't do that no more, and that's okay.
I try to make it like good practice, like especially if it's not my therapist that I'm talking to, if it's like my friends, if it's something that's I feel like might be particularly heavy, I try to make it like a good practice to be like, do you have space to hold this right now?
You gotta check in. You gotta check in.
I said that before, and. Responded to me very negatively. I was like, hey, like I have a lot of things going on in my life right now, which was like earlier this year, and I was like, I don't have the space. My plate is this big, and I'm the only one on it.
I'm treading water right now.
I cannot hold your shit, my shit, and my kid's shit in this
That's
damn
real.
cat. I can't do it.
And the cat?
I can't do it.
And
the cat is the cherry on top. Like I can't.
The cat knocked something over.
Right. I got that new carpet, and my cat just scratched up the carpet.
Losing it.
Hey, no, it's like when you had a long ass day and you get to the house and you drop your keys on the ground,
oh
and you just sit there, you just like.
Your purse get caught on the door.
Oh my God!
That does it for me. That does it.
You fed up.
Oh my
that does it.
Like,
like you know what?
This can't be it. Like you be at your 13th reason for that last little thing, bro. You be like, hey man.
That purse getting caught on the door. Oh my God, that's the 13th reason. That's done.
That is the 13th reason. Like if anybody say anything to me, I'm gonna crash out. I'm gonna crash out. If I walk in this door and the kids say anything to me, I'm gonna crash out.
And that is so hard as a mother, because like you be going through it, and you gotta go home, and you know you got them. We got 2 kids. You got them 2 kids at home, and mine are younger than yours, so they still need me for a lot of things.
Mommy.
Oh my God! As soon as I come in through the door, Mom.
I can hear
like,
oh
my God. Kat and Kendra all day. I don't want. Leave me alone. I have to when your kids get older, it's easier to communicate with them. Like my kids told me one time I was mad as fuck when I came in the house, and they kind of like peek out their door, and both of them closed it at the same time. And then like 5 hours later, I was just laying on the couch. Hunter was like, he came in the kitchen. He's like, hey mom. I was like, hey, what's up? He was like, you have a good day? I was like, no, like leave me alone. He was like, all right.
Let me go make my noodles.
Let me go fix my food, and I'm gonna leave you alone. So it gets easier.
Yeah.
Like, the neediness stops eventually, and then it's like they're old enough to comprehend, like, oh, this don't have shit to do with me.
No.
I was just gonna say, but you also, as a parent, because I've had this conversation with my parents, like especially my father was like, yo, you have to understand. You didn't realize you set the tone for the house when you came in. Mm-hmm. So when you came in, it was a good day. It was like, Dad's home. Dad, hey, Dad, woo, woo, woo. And as a man now, I understand my father on so many different levels. To the point I even had to apologize. Like, I'm sorry, I was so angry at you. Because, like, it's hard. Yeah. But, like, also, at the same time, you're not exempt from that. You are the man in this house, and you set the tone. So when you came in having a bad day, everybody in the house was like, shit, he's home.
Right.
And you could tell. You was like, tell. But it's like, now, it's like, I see my father now. When he has a bad day, he don't bring that in with him. Right. He come on, he's actually happy to see his family at the house. Like yesterday, my nieces was there. He had a long day. He just got back from vacation and all that. And is already back working hard as hell. But he came in the house and saw his kids there, his grandkids there. We making dinner and stuff like that. And we're all happy. And it was like, you could tell he immediately let the whole work day off his shoulders. Yeah. And he was able to be present.
That's good.
And so but that takes work too.
Yeah, being present.
Being present. Like you got to let go of whatever the fuck happened at that job.
Right.
And I know what the hell you deal with. You got to let all that go and come on like, these kids ain't asked for that. They ain't asked for that.
It was a struggle. I struggle with that. I was in and out of therapy with my last job before I moved here because I was like, I have to quit this job because I am mean to my kids. I'm mean to my man. I'm mean to my damn cat. Like, my sister called me one time and she was like, hey, we're going to come over. And I guess I spazzed out on her. And she just bust out laughing. She was like, okay, I'll just call you back.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. And I didn't know how to, like, navigate my emotions then. And, of course, like, motherhood is you're always learning. It's always a new milestone. It's like, just when you feel like you figured this level out, this new one pop up and you're like...
Yeah.
Hey, that's life, bro. Every time you make it to the top, you like, oh hell, oh shit, it's a bigger one.
You like,
thought
I
you
did
made
it.
Right.
You mean like I did it. We're Where did this ladder come from? Like, who put this here? Yeah, that's how it is. And then, like, I feel like when you are a parent, like, you have parenthood on top of life. Because, like, life always, new levels, new devils. Then you got the parenthood, new levels, new devils.
I haven't experienced that yet.
When you get there, you're gonna get there.
We are in no
and I'm
rush.
gonna give you a little nugget.
He was just saying he wanted some babies.
The Delulu crew goes crazy. We got receipts.
Crazy.
Hey man, I must be the grounded one today then. Because I'm today. I'm like,
no, you got short term memory loss like a motherfucker. Like,
you just posted this.
You did. You said you had baby fever.
That was the other day, man. This not the day.
Not today.
But
but he's the grounded one today.
Right.
Fair enough. It's fair enough.
Wild.
That was yesterday.
Hey, man, today I'm a new man. I'm over here like, hey man, you know what? I ain't in no rush.
Life is just one.
Me
and Kendra like, nah, we got like 7.
Right, we got 35 levels over here. I don't know what life these other folks live in. Cause me, I got 89 levels, and I'm on
10 tabs open.
Right, period. All the tabs they open. Like you can scroll over. Cause it's tabs open.
That's my ADHD when it comes to the tabs, boy.
Boy, what?
You can't turn it off though. Like you can come home if you don't have kids, and you can just be like, all right.
You can.
But when you have kids, it's like immediately when you walk through the door, hello, slave.
Yes.
Like,
yes. Did you see what I posted the other day? It was like being a mom is crazy. You gotta wake up and be a servant immediately.
Immediately. I need food. I'm hungry. Can you help me with my project? I need lunch money. Oh, I have a project due tomorrow.
I'm sorry, I'm overstimulated. Wow.
Hey, how you doing?
Right. Hey, how are you? What happened to hello?
What happened to hello? They don't care about any of that. Kids don't care about none of that.
They don't.
They don't know. That's why I said.
That's why I
said I had to apologize to my dad because I vividly remember him coming home and me and my sisters bum rushing him. Dad, Coach said he need this. Dad, can you sign this? Like, my mom, she helped out, but it's like we still went to him.
Yeah,
that pops. So then I got older, or whatever. I would come home and like the girlfriend be like, "Oh man, we gotta do this. We should talk about this. We gotta do." And I'm like, "Whoa, let me take my shoes off. Can I get 20 minutes of silence?"
Said, Uno reverse.
Yeah, right. Man, and just dating and all that stuff. And this is before the therapy. I remember calling my dad. I was like, "Dad, I'm sorry. I get it. When you say, let me take my boots off and give me let me take a nap."
Yeah.
Because even without kids, I still be having to close the tabs.
Yeah.
Like I can only imagine what y'all deal with, like as mothers.
Yeah.
Because me as a single man, I come home, I need a good hour of silence. I've been talking all day. I've been pretending to be friendly with these folks on the phone all day at work. I've been trying to get somebody to take this damn job. Check this out. Just give me a good hour, maybe 2. Of nobody talking.
Give me an hour.
Or like people be like, "Yo, are you okay? You mad about anything?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine." But I've been talking all day. I want to shut the fuck up. Like I just want to be quiet.
I would love to be quiet.
Can I call you? Can we do a FaceTime?
Yeah.
I have been talking for 8 hours.
Straight.
I just want to shut up.
Right. I want to be quiet.
Be quiet.
The ride's home, and then like you pull up and you just gotta sit in your car for a minute. That'd be the moment.
I've been doing that a lot lately.
Me too.
I do that a lot.
Man, that's when it was time for me to go. When I was riding home an hour plus in traffic in silence. Inside, and then I still sat in the car, and y'all know how hot it is, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting in the car ain't even running. I'm just sitting there, door open, just like I'm contemplating life before I get out. That's when I knew it was like you getting too stressed out.
That times a million with kids.
Right.
Because you
and then
go in the house with them.
Right, and then think about the type of partner that you choose when you have the kids, because either it's going to be a helpful partner or it's going to be a partner who's not going to do shit.
Yeah, I heard on your last podcast we was talking about that.
Yeah,
or they're not there.
Right, or they're not there.
That's tough to deal with because you doing everything. It's like, you still expect me to come home and bust it open? When you come home for me to bust it open,
man, what?
But ain't no way. Ain't no way.
I'm tired.
Like they say. Hey, fellas, tip. Foreplay starts in the morning when you first wake up.
It starts in the morning when you wake up.
It literally does. Throughout the day.
It is not lick and rub. That is not foreplay.
Turn the car on.
Hey, man. I'm just saying, man. Make her some breakfast or something. Send her something for her lunch money. Be sweet.
It doesn't have to be sexual.
It doesn't. It's really
washing dishes, taking the trash out for you.
A lot of people don't know what
I was just
going
to say
it.
Hey, folks,
people do not know what intimacy is without sex.
And I can say
because they think sex is intimacy.
And I can say that as a man who's become older, I crave more intimacy than anything.
Right.
Like just simple conversation. Like just showing me that you care, or just us just being in each other's presence. We ain't even gotta do nothing.
Right. We don't have to talk. I'm happy to sit in your house
and
and be
scroll on
like,
Instagram.
period, I can scroll.
You can go do whatever
And
you
I
want
can
to
be
do.
like, oh, yeah.
Let me game. Let me get on. Let me
Yeah.
hop on. Let me hop on NCAA. And while you got your feet on me, you watching your shows on the iPad.
Right.
And we just chilling.
People are so
Hypersexual.
and
It's weird.
what
though,
is it
because
like?
everybody's not good at sex.
Give
but
me
they are
like it's me.
hypersexual.
They're not even good at sex.
You
Why?
can't,
Like,
usually because they
wild.
usually because they lack
and
intimacy.
entitlement. So
That
it's
too.
hypersexual and entitlement. Like you're not gonna woo me sexually. That don't work. I got 2 kids. I won 2 prizes already.
Right.
Like,
Bing, bing.
bing, bing. I already done this.
Did it.
Like
Wow,
do
they're
something
here.
else.
Yeah.
Perform.
Right.
So
Yeah,
like
perform.
they're so entitled though. It's like okay, well I did this, so
I paid for
It
dinner.
is.
I took you out.
It
Hey, no,
is.
that's cringy as hell, man.
It is, but it be like, damn, like
they are actively still doing this. And for the guys that are still doing this, please stop.
please
Please
immediately
stop. Dinner
stop.
does not equate to sex. Drinks
It
does not
doesn't.
equate to
Nothing
sex.
you do equates to
Women
sex.
liking you does not equate to sex.
It does not.
And also, if you like her, she don't have to like you back. It's okay. Rejection
And
is
she
okay.
probably already
Rejection
knows
is
she
a part
wants
of
to have
life.
sex with you. It's on you to not mess it up.
Yeah, that too, but
If I think if I once I choose in my brain that you have been selected for,
You won no prize.
You
The
won
prize.
selected.
It's only you who can lose it.
Right,
It's
hey,
only you who can lose it. Only you can make it happen.
Child.
I don't think men understand that though. I think they
No.
feel like they gotta like, oh, I gotta take you out to eat. Like, no. If I wanted to do something with you, I have already discussed this with my homegirls like 7
Right.
business days ago.
Period.
First
First day I met you.
day
I
I met
already
you,
knew.
I was already in a group chat like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like,
yeah,
actually,
yeah.
yeah.
You ain't gotta do. So rejection is okay because sometimes you may already be selected. You may already be selected. Don't mess it up.
Yes, please don't. I think that like one thing though, OJ, that I do admire about you as a man is like when we talk about how men have a hard time forming relationships with men where they can be vulnerable. You do a good job of forming them with women and being able to be a good friend. Like you and I have been friends since we were in high school.
Yeah.
And you and Kat are friends. And like
We
now
weren't
we're the
supposed to be.
trio.
We weren't supposed to
They
be.
weren't supposed to be
We was not
friends.
supposed
And this gonna go south when this video
It's gonna go nuts for them.
crazy.
I get to be the grounded one then.
Chaos.
It's
Amen.
okay. But like I
I
mean,
agree.
you do a good job of forming relationships with women that are like strictly platonic. And I think a lot of men struggle with that, but I think you benefit from that a lot because again, even though we're delusional, the crew, we do like kind of bring you back down sometimes to be
Absolutely.
like, actually, let me let you, because like we give you a little tidbits and you got a little, you know what I'm saying, you got us in your back pocket, so it's like
No, that's real. That's
Yeah.
100% fact.
but every man can't do that. And
That
like you have to think about like even women trying to be friends with some men, like some women have those same like ulterior motives. Like
Yeah,
I'm gonna be his
so-
friend because I really like him,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna just be his friend and wait around.
Yeah.
Some women do that too.
No, absolutely.
But like a lot of women like
Solid
don't
parent.
always feel safe
Nah.
to like be friends with men.
I don't have plenty of women
because-
try to friend their way into some dick. But I had to actually learn
that's
from.
crazy.
No, it is. But
That's
I had to
nuts.
learn.
Once I
I
say
had
you're
to
my
be seen.
friend,
been that
that's
desperate.
it. Ever.
I don't even think it's desperate. I think they just don't know how to be. I think they don't know how to be forthcoming.
Never been that
I don't think they know
desperate.
how to be forthcoming. That's what I think it really is. But I think what's helped me have these platonic, one, us being friends so long,
Mhm.
but also being a man and making mistakes. Like sleeping with women too soon and then realizing, damn, man, you actually are a dope person, but we clouded that judgment now
Yeah.
because we crossed that line
Yeah.
way too soon versus really trying to build these relationships and get to know each other and realize,
I
dang,
think
man,
you can still do it though.
do what?
Still build a relationship and get to know each other.
No,
But
absolutely,
it
no.
takes two
Yeah,
people who are level-headed and like,
yeah.
Mhm.
all right, look, we started kind of crazy, so we don't
100%.
have to kind of pace
Absolutely.
around.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna put my business out there, but yeah, absolutely. But but it came from me making a lot of mistakes of like women that I genuinely were like, dang man, we could have been really like dope ass friends or networked and really did some powerful things out in the community and shit like that.
Yeah.
But because we allowed lust and our physical human nature get in play, we don't do now. And now you look at me funny, or I look at you funny because you know I get the ick real bad.
You do.
Like I can like you today, and then next week you do something one thing, and I'm talking
Would you
pictures.
tell me that one girl said to you in a text message? She said,
Oh, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And then she spelled it out, and I was like, Well, she said it, and I was like, "Hey, man, I can't do this no more."
The fact that he was able to remember it right on bat, like
man, listen,
immediately.
Bro. And it's like certain
the
things.
Virgo
that...
has entered the chat.
Virgo has entered the chat.
Nah, man, but seriously, like, so I stopped thinking with the wrong head and started putting the right head and start using and being present with people, mainly the women I would deal with. And I realized, dang, yo, I can relate to y'all because I have all sisters. So it's like, okay. And then y'all provide me with that insight on women that helps me out. Y'all bring me back to reality all the time. And y'all tell me when to get the fuck on. Like, y'all literally be like, hey, no, OJ, she's playing with you. She's playing with your emotions. It's time to go.
He does, but not right away.
It take a little minute sometimes.
He like playing in the delusion.
He does.
I like to be Delulu.
You know what I'm saying? He like
I enjoy the
Delulu.
Delulu is the Salulu, man.
It's not the Salulu.
It's not the Salulu, but if I'm easily delusional with you, I know it ain't going nowhere.
It'd be fun. It'd be fun though.
It do be fun.
Them few
like,
weeks, months be.
A few months.
Hey, man.
I ain't never had a few months.
I was delusional for 2 years. A year and a half.
Hey, man.
He knows. Look, he knows. Whole family knows. So it's okay. Everybody knows. Whoa, Kendra can get a little woohoo. But it's fine. It's fine. I've survived. I'm here.
We're human.
We are human. We make mistakes.
And that's why the word of the day is grace.
It was a grace. Like
when you edit it, can you put
like,
grace?
Grace and like with a little ping. Like the word of the day. Who said we were giving words of the day? But yeah, so I think therapy has helped us all, right? I feel like
absolutely.
I highly recommend it to people all the time, and I love to talk about it to people about my therapy like journey. Even though like some people might think that because I went to couples therapy and it didn't work out for me and my ex-husband, that means that therapy failed. But honestly for me meant therapy worked. Mm-hmm. So like sometimes I think a realization that you can have in therapy is that you might not get the answer that you want or you think that you need, but you do get the answer that you actually really do need in your life. So I highly recommend it to anybody out there.
How many therapists did you go through before you found the one for you?
Which one? Like couples or like by myself?
Individual therapy.
Okay, so individually, it did take me a while to match with a therapist.
And that's why I wanted to get people to hear.
Yeah.
People try it one time and they say, "Oh, I tried therapy and I wasn't rocking with it. I'm good."
You
and
have to.
You gotta,
so like I plug like BetterHelp and even Talkspace. I think I've used them before too. But like we did our couples therapy through BetterHelp. BetterHelp lets you like go through and kind of select things that you're looking for. So do you want a Black therapist? Yes. Do you want a therapist who practices Christian values? Yes or no? Do you want a therapist who is a part of the LGBTQIA community? And like you can select all
whatever
these things,
specialized,
right? And they'll help you link up with somebody who is good for you. My first therapist, it took me a long time to match with a therapist through my first insurance when I was doing my therapy by myself because I had Kaiser and. The lady told me on the phone, she was like, "Look, I know you want a Black therapist, but you will be waiting for months." And I could not wait for months. So they matched me with this lady. Her name was Hope. And she was really good. Me and Hope talked for a long time, but I did tell Hope in the beginning, I was like, "Look, I need to know that you're going to be able to accept some of the things that I'm going to tell you as a Black woman," because she was a white woman, as a Black woman, and not be judgmental on the things that this portrays in the Black community and not think that this is a stereotype that you can feed into.
Because that will be most reasons why people won't continue with therapy.
Right.
I suggest a Black therapist only because they know what we're talking about.
Right.
They can relate in a different kind of way.
Right. And Hope was really good. She did help me work through a lot of things, but I will say, even though I had that conversation with her, there were some times where I would say things that were a part of the community, but sometimes I would just hold things in my head and just be like, no, but let's talk about something else. So our couples therapist, both times though, were Black women. The Aries was a Black woman. I actually really liked her. I saw her by myself first, and I liked her a lot, Adrienne. And then the last one, she was a Black woman, and she was like into astrology and stuff, so me and her used to gab Like,
y'all get on 10.
Oh man, what? And she was a Capricorn, and I think she had the same birthday as my mom. Like,
you told me that. Well, you didn't tell me that. I watched it on your podcast.
Oh, you know, homework.
I'm a supportive friend, man.
Yeah. So she was really good, and that was my therapist. The last one I had through BetterHelp, and she was really good. But she definitely used to be in our therapy sessions, like.
Just like this.
Yeah, like in her breakout room. Kendra, can I see you in a breakout room real quick? Like,
not
like
the breakout room.
That's not it.
So how many therapists did you go through before you found the one?
I started therapy at 14. It was court ordered because my mother was abusive physically and verbally. So I had a lot of anger issues growing up. So it was court ordered first. Then I went through the marriage counseling. That was also a church. I'm telling you, I am not going to do nothing with no church. No, I mean, I didn't want to save the marriage anyway, but like, you know, they do push, like, they weaponize the Bible.
Period.
And things
You're
like that.
Not going to use it against me.
Janice was my therapist for a long time. She still is, but I felt like I grew up and I needed to, like, everything I learned, I needed to apply. And I was codependent on her in a sense. Like, every time something happened in my life, I was like, oh my God, I gotta talk right now. And she was like, hey, I think what you've learned, you're gonna do great. Apply it. If you need me in the future, yes. But it's becoming codependent. So let's apply things. And because my mom was so unavailable, I could see where my codependency was coming on because I didn't grow up with a mother figure. Yeah. And this was kind of like having one. So, I have not been in therapy actively the last 2 years, but
you've been applying it though.
I've been applying it, and then like kind of like you said earlier, when I noticed that I'm like doing something, I'm like, yeah, let me not do that no more.
Let me lock back in.
Or acknowledging my triggers in other people versus letting people trigger me.
Right.
So that was very big for me in learning because now when I'm speaking to someone or like even friendships, relationships, like. My biggest trigger is going to be my mom. So anytime I see little things that she used to do in people, I say, this isn't going to work out for me. Yeah. Because I'm not where I need to be as a person to get through it with you together. Yeah. It's going to send me over the edge. Can't do it. Yeah. You're great, but you remind me of my mother, and I can't. I
some things you gotta recognize.
Some things I have to recognize, and then I have a good support system. My family, my aunties, my sisters, and the last conversation I had with my auntie was, you know, I feel like I'm attracting friends and lovers that have little pieces that my mom, like something about them will not allow me to like just get close to them. Something about them is pissing me off. And so, kind of like with the other situation, with one of my last friendships, the way she would talk to me when she was upset was like,
you're not my mom.
You're not my mom. You're not my man. Like I don't know who told you it's okay to talk to people like this. Yeah. But if I wasn't healed, I would probably beat your ass. So I'm gonna stop right here, and I'm gonna say no. No. And I did that with my mom too recently, a couple of months ago. I think we talked about that. We did. Where she just keeps popping back up in my life. I haven't talked to my mom in years. And the last time she popped up, and I was just like, hey, I don't want you in my life. I don't want you in my children's life. Like, the trauma that you've, like, put on me, the trauma that I've had to work through as an adult has taken me years to work through this. I started in therapy at 14 because of you, because you was abusive. I chose horrible partners. I made bad decisions, and now I'm getting into my 30s, and my life is regulating. It's nice. It's beautiful. I'm learning things all the time, and I feel like every time I get to this point, here you come. Leave me alone. I love you maybe in another life, maybe not in this one. Yeah. You know, but blessings. I can't do it. Right. I had a little bit more patience, and I learned to like feel through my emotions. Like, it's okay for me to be upset that didn't work out. Yeah. It's okay for me to cry today because I'm frustrated. Like, yeah. And once I do it, I'm like, oh, okay.
You allow yourself to feel. You give yourself permission to feel, man. And like you said, it's okay for things to not work out. People think because things don't work out, it has to end bad. Like, hey, no. We realize we're two people going in different directions. Rather it's us and me and a job, me and another person. It's okay. Like it's like, you know what? We can end this on a good note. Hey, you know what?
Still be friends.
And thank you.
Still be friends and like genuinely be friends. Like I want to call in and check on you. Like you good?
Yeah.
I think you learn platonicness through that too.
Being
like,
genuine.
Just being genuine. Like I don't want anything from you. I think you're a really cool person.
Right.
But when they're unhealed, it's like...
Period. Because I definitely, you know what I'm saying, I tried to exit nicely. We ain't got to have no issues, but when somebody is a crash out, they're a crash out.
They're a crash out.
We don't do crash outs.
Yeah.
Crash outs.
Not anymore.
No.
Anymore.
I can't take it, honestly. I just don't have the space to hold that. But, you know, whatever. But I think we're at a good stopping point.
I think so too.
I think we've had a therapy session. We were on the couch. Yeah. Wow, look at us.
That felt good. I feel like home. Off the shoulders.
Great. Where's that letter from?
Grace. So thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Single Mama Minimal Drama and this merger episode of Hidden Gems.
It's a crossover.
Oh, it's a crossover? It's a crossover.
Yeah, crossover.
It is.
It's the Power Rangers meet the Ninja Turtles.
Right, the crossover episode. But anyways, if you are a Hidden Gems listener, just be on the lookout. Hidden Gems will be back soon. So if you have it in your library still, just add it back. We will be adding visuals. We will be adding more episodes, having more fun guests on, and just talking about entrepreneurship still, because I'm still on the journey. Surprise, surprise. But thank you guys for tuning in. Check out next week's episode. It'll be the season finale of Single Mama Minimal Drama.
Peace out from the Delulu crew.
Grace.